course, what we're going to do is we're going to do a beef fillet. We're going to pan roast beef fillet. I'm going to do both items. We also have a substitution for a peppercorn crusted ahi tuna. For those of you who want to do one of each or all tuna, but we're going to start off with the beef, and when I plate it, I might do a surf and turf version and then just also the steaks. But as you can see, our fillets, we portion them here. They're around 7 to 8 ounces each from the tenderloin. This is what you're going to get in the box, the 2 fillets ready to go. We're going to season it, again, salt and pepper, and a little heavy, actually. A little heavier than we did with the shrimp course. That steak really wants that strong peppery flavor. Now I add a little bit of grapeseed oil. This is what we have in this container. It's going to be grapeseed oil. We're going to be pan roasted. So if you want to do these out on your grill, barbecue, should be fine. Should be about the same kind of time frame and same kind of temperature, internal temperature for sure. So we're going to rub these with a little bit of oil. We're going to season the other side. Now the pan's getting hot. And I've been warming this up for probably about 2 or 3 minutes on, I want to say, pretty much medium-high heat. So I want to get a nice sear. And again, you're going to need this oven, 350-degree convection, because we're going to go right from the pan, and the whole pan's going to go right into that oven. And I would like for you to see all of this, all these ingredients, everything that's out, that's our mise en place. That's our term, it's a French term or French phrase for everything in place. Every time we go to cook in the table grill for dinner service, breakfast, lunch, it doesn't matter, or banquets, we all say the same term. Do you have your mise en place? What is your mise en place? And this is it. The only thing I'm missing in my mise en place is a big glass of wine. But I'm at work, and you're at home, and if you're cooking at home, you better have a glass of wine and some good music playing. That's just the only requirement. That's all I'm missing in my mise en place. All right, so we've got the pan nice and hot, steaks are seasoned, and you want that sound. That's the noise we're looking for. That is the sear. You want to hear that. Then you know things are starting to caramelize and develop a crust. Now what we want to do is we want to cook these steaks. We'll put just a little more oil in the pan. Not too much oil. I don't want it to be in a situation where it's pan frying. I'm searing it. So just enough oil. Just enough. Okay. So we're going to sear these on both sides. Put those right into the oven. And then a couple things that we're going to serve with it is we're going to do the carrots. So we're going to serve it with some baby carrots and oyster mushrooms. And oyster mushrooms, beautiful, beautiful mushroom. You could use a king oyster mushroom or just a traditional oyster mushroom. Again, they get their name because of their color, their shape. They do have a meaty flavor to it. Or you could just use a cremini mushroom if that's what you prefer, what you have in your store. But one thing that we like to do is to make it a little more decorative. We'll cut the end off and we'll score it. So if I cut this mushroom in half, we take our knife. It might be safer, easier, feel more comfortable if I use a paring knife. Then you can just do little score marks. And then do a hatch mark on the other direction. And then you can just kind of crisscross. And what is neat about that is it'll come out really nicely when you pan roast them with hand sear. I'm just going to put them in there just for now so you can kind of see it. Roasting the steak 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes on each side. And then we're going to throw it in the oven, and it should only take, I'm going to say, another 4 minutes, 5 minutes total in there. And I'll try to use the thermometer on that too. So with all the mushrooms, we score them. Just to give it that decorative look. And you'll see once it's pan roasted, the way that comes out. Now with the carrots that's inside your box, they've been blanched and shocked, which that means is they went into boiling water with salt, like salted boiling water, right into an ice bath to cool them down. So these are cooked all the way, and what we're going to do is just kind of trim them and cut them in half lengthwise. Now you're going to notice something. I'm cooking them in the same pan with the steak. That's just adding more flavor. And all that fat and everything that's coming off the steak and anything, the flavor on it. But just be very careful not to overdo it. I'm going to tongs here. Because that fat's pretty hot and I don't want to burn it. You can kind of see see how that's kind of getting that kind of caramelization look on there. Let me grab these ones real quick. Okay, you can see the color on our steak. Got that nice sear, nice caramelization. I'm gonna flip that over. Continue to do it again, another few minutes on the side. I'm gonna get a couple of these carrots, get some color on those in that pan while I'm pan roasting them. And then I have a couple other mushrooms I want to put in there. Just oh, that flavor's going right now. Already got that one. Now, one thing that I'm going to add in here in a second is I'm going to add a little bit of butter. And again, we'll have this in your box for you. And then we're going to add also some thyme and some garlic. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw that in here. We're going to baste everything with that while it's basically while it's pan roasting. So we get a little bit of color on the carrots. Yeah, for sure. Now you can see how that's really starting to come out. I'm going to put a couple more pieces in. You can see how we cut that right on that edge. We'll put that in there with a little bit of fat. And again, I can put just a little bit more. This is just a traditional grapeseed oil. You can kind of see how we're getting that kind of crust right there on that pan. Now, because this pan's so high on heat for those steaks, I gotta be careful not to burn the carrots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch out some of those vegetables to another pan and throw that other stuff in the fillets into the oven. Let's go ahead and take those guys out. See how colorful that looks? Now, I'm going to hit this with just a little bit of butter. A little bit of thyme. A little bit of garlic. That doesn't look like a little bit of garlic. So I'm going to baste it a little bit. Put some of that garlic right on top, some of that butter on top. And I'm going to throw this whole pan right in the oven. And I'm going to say, where we're at, I'm going to say probably about 5 minutes actually in there. So we open it up in the oven, put that whole pan in there, let that do its thing. Then we can finish cooking these. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. Now I'm going with some more butter. And I have no feeling left in my fingers anymore. That's not a good thing or a bad thing, I guess. It's good for my profession. But it helps me so I can flip them around. But use your tongs, kind of flip your carrots around. You want to get that flat surface so you can get good caramelization on it. What I mean by that is when that's nice, that bottom, that flat piece, that's what we're really trying to focus on, getting the color. That helps with the flavor and the presentation. We're going to do a couple sunburst squash as well. Just a touch. Got a couple more mushrooms in there. Again, just trying to get that sear on them. Put this aside. And it's always good to have another pan or a plate or something next to you when you're cooking, because if something does finish, you want to take it out, set it aside while you're cooking other items. Too many things in the pan will overcrowd it. It'll start to steam, too much liquid. So just a couple things at a time, and you can take things out and then add more items in there as you need it. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to show you the mashed potato component too. Another pan for that. So with the mashed potatoes, what's going to happen is in your box you're going to get a cooked, cooled potato, mashed potato. We already made it. It already has butter, already has half and half in it. But what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you incorporate a little bit of Boursin cheese in there once it starts to get warm. So with this pan, what I want to do is put a little bit of butter in there again. We love butter. If you've been to these cooking classes, you'll know we love butter. I'm going to move this back here behind me so we can focus on this one now. Potatoes going in the pan and break it up. A lot of you, if you've done the weekend box, you'll know when it comes in, you really got to break that up a little bit. And you don't want to work it too much because you'll overwork the starch in there. But the butter's already melted, so it's going to help the potato. We're going to let that warm up a little bit. We're going to season the vegetables again with our salt and pepper. See how these are starting to get their caramelization. See how it's kind of starting to go. That's the colors we're looking for. We're looking for that roasting right there. So I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. And we'll fold in the Boursin cheese, which makes it very creamy. Kind of incorporate that in there. You can see how soft and pliable and creamy that becomes. I'm going to show you why I want that. Not only does it taste great, but it's also going to help me when I do my plate up, so it's nice and smooth. Now that that's ready, I'm just going to keep this on the back burner back here. Don't need to keep it on or anything. Just have it ready to go. Then your sauce, what we're giving you is a combination of this veal stock and this port reduction, okay? Now you're already going to receive that mix, but I just want to show you what that is. Basically, we take reduced port wine and our veal stock. We're going to warm that up. Maybe I will keep it separate, just to make it work harder. Pretty good. So port reduction, veal stock. Okay, these are almost there. Oh yeah, that's great. Perfect. You can kind of see now I'm getting that caramelization I keep talking about. And you know it'd be really fun at this point. It's like part of the script, and since I have extra, we'll go and throw a little bit of thyme in there too. So we'll throw a piece of thyme in there. Kind of stir that around a little bit. But that thyme releases flavor and kind of under mushroom or something. I'm just going to put this on the back burner. This would probably be a good time to check the temperature on it. We're just going to use our regular thermometer, whatever you have at home. Usually we serve our fillets around 120, 125 for medium rare, which means I usually cool them around 115, 110, 115. If you want it a little more cooked, you can go a little bit further, a little longer in that cooking time. But you want to go into the fattest part. That's where we're at right now. I feel like these need to come out right now, actually. Yeah, these are ready. This one's a little thicker, so that one's right now is around 110. And that one's probably about 120. Yeah. Let me go ahead and pull these out now. So about 4.5 minutes, is that what you're saying, roughly? Now, one last thing I want to do to these guys. I just want to flip them one more time. And I want to move around in that butter with all that thyme. Okay. Now we need to let them rest. So take them out, let them rest, let them cool down just a little bit before we go to pick them up. Sauce is coming together. Alright, this plate, go right around. I'm going to take our entree plate. want to showcase, again, all that caramelization that I keep talking about. Because you worked really hard for it. And you deserve to show that off a little bit. Now I'm cut the fillet. The fillet, you want to let it rest for about at least 5 minutes. We didn't get a chance to do that, but it'll just bleed just a little bit, but not a whole lot. Let's see where we're at. We're going to cut this guy right in half. I didn't bleed at all. Looks good. Now, I usually put just a little bit more salt, kind of right there, or a foot of salt, a thicker salt on that. Got a little bit off that. Put a couple more of these ingredients on there. He just fell in the perfect spot, didn't he? Sometimes that happens. You can't force it.